Hello, ladies and gentlemen. It's yet another beautiful edition of the Belief Unfiltered. I'm really excited to be here with some really great men. By my left, I have my co-host Emmanuel Orieme. Hope I didn't pardon. I didn't murder the name. And then I have my brother, our guest, Marc
Odiba.
Odiba. Yeah, popularly known as Convey. So I would not really want to waste so much of your time. I would go straight to today's topic that we would love to discuss about on this episode. So, the topic is actually about unveiling prosperity gospel. So, I don't know if I should allow my co-host to shed a little light as regards what
Uh,
that is all about.
First of all, um, when you talk about when we talk about prosperity today,
Yeah,
a lot of people just want to think about money. Yeah, prosperity is deeper than money, in my opinion, and I feel like when everybody come together and try to discuss prosperity, it's just you know. But to our honorable host today,
yeah.
guest.
Okay.
In a very short in a few sentences, can you tell us about prosperity?
Prosperity, gospel, or prosperity?
Prosperity.
Okay. Pardon me, but every time I start a conversation, I like to base it on a manual as a Christian and as a minister.
Yeah.
So I would go with the scripture in 3 John chapter 2, 3 John chapter 1, verse 2. John was writing to the church and he said, "Beloved, I wish above all things that thou mayest prosper and be in health, even as your soul prospers." And so I think prosperity is an encompassing word. It's is a concept that deals with the total wellness of a person or the total well-being. So I wouldn't want to reduce the I wouldn't want to water down the meaning of prosperity just to money, even though in our earthly term, when we say somebody is prospering, we always ascribe it towards financial gains and all that. But I feel prosperity in its true sense is the total wellness, and yes, the total wellness of a person. So if they say somebody is prosperous, it means he does well spiritually, physically, mentally, financially, maritally, so it's encompassing.
Health-wise.
So yes, health-wise. So that's prosperity for me.
Okay, so basically, you're trying to say the prosperity thing doesn't really has to be centered on materialistic things that you can possess as an individual, as a believer.
Yes, yes. I asked if it's prosperity, gospel, or prosperity. He said prosperity. If it's prosperity, I think prosperity is the total wellness of somebody in every facet of life.
Now let's talk about financial
Prosperity.
which is very important. Young people of today are very carried away by money.
Okay.
Ladies are carried away by money. They'll tell you money is important. If you're asking them out, they'll say, "Yeah, you get money." So money is very important, which is why people are careful. And some people are not careful. They go to the extra miles. Now, monetary prosperity. Can you discuss a little, just in few sentences about that?
Monetary prosperity. Okay. I think I'll come a little carnal on this because it's like I'm trying to be too spiritual and you're punishing me for it. Okay, monetary prosperity is the function of an individual having a constant income that can settle his needs and have left to spare. Yeah, that's what I would say for prosperity. I mean, if you are not just subsisting is a term that describes somebody who's just eating, who can just get food to eat. Somebody who they call it chafene, you just go get small money, you eat and survive the next day, you die. So prosperity for me is when you have more than enough in store.
You're not living from hand to mouth.
You're not living from hand to mouth, and you can also give to others.
Give out.
So that's prosperity for me. I feel if your daily income or your daily expenditure is 100 naira or 1,000 naira, and you earn about 5,000 naira, so you have what to eat today, tomorrow, next tomorrow, and still have to spare. I feel you are prospering. You are prosperous. I beg your pardon. So that's
Now, before I have one very tactical question that a lot of young people
yes.
are battling with every day. It's about making money. Now, what do you think, in just your own opinion, what do you think is the catalyst of making money the right way? Because young people these days are driven by I want hammer,
Yeah,
you know,
true.
Yahoo and all that. So they no longer can there's no line, there's no boundaries from the right thing and the wrong thing. So in your own few sentence or in your own opinion, what do you think is the right way? What is that thing that drives someone to make money or to be prosperous materially?
This question is making my heart pump. I'm palpitating right now because when you ask me a question that is very deep, this question you ask me is like the pain of the society. Is what affects the fiber of my society currently. In fact, it's what every youth battles with.
Absolutely.
What our parents battled with, but it's more predominant in our age. So if you say I should give you in a few sentences, it's going to be challenging, but I'm going to try. Okay, so I feel personally, the catalyst for wanting to get rich quick in our generation, I believe you are talking about my generation.
Absolutely.
In our generation is, forgive me to all the ladies who will be listening and watching, I feel first of all is women. I'm trying not to be too spiritual about this topic because it's a carnal topic. Yes. Money is not spent in heaven, so it's only on the earth.
Actually.
Yes. So
It was
I feel
created by man.
Mado. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. So I feel money, what makes people want to get money? For me, the first reason is because in fact, the youth's desire these days is to impress the opposite sex. And then a lot of people will tell you that, okay, I come from a suffering family, I come from an impoverished background, so they feel, okay, I want to make my family okay. That's okay, that's fine. If you do a job, for example, if you do a job of maybe 100K per month and you're not extravagant, you can live, you can be fine. So where the problem comes in is when you get married. So that's the first. I'm not against women, I'm not against marriage, I'm an advocate for women. In fact, I'm a feminist, if you feel like me. So, but I'm saying, when people want to impress their girlfriends, when people want to get married, when people want to, support their female friends for the youth, forgive me, I may not be so deep in this, but when people want to impress the opposite sex, that's what drives them into a form of desperate way of trying to make money. And maybe for a part of Nigeria, there's a sector of Nigeria, I don't want to discriminate right now, they have a boastful and show-off thing that they go to the village every Christmas. So that's another factor. When you want to match up with your peers, thank you. So when you want to meet up with your peers, so you feel, we're going to the village in Christmas, I need to build a very beautiful house. So when my mates come, they have 8th grade systems. So, when they try to do, so I feel is ego and women. Yes, ego, pride and women. That's the major catalyst for desperation. If not, people will be comfortable. If they're, okay, if people don't have to impress the opposite sex, there will be less pressure. The people that go into fraud, because you mentioned fraud, people who go into fraud, you see that 90% of what they do is they go to clubs, they try to spend money on the opposite sex. Your friend will never call you and say, my guy, come down, smile, they wire you money. There's hardly ever that. But when a girl comes around, his body is restless. About how far around this goes, carry them, go one place. So this and that and that. And then when it comes to the pride and ego part is when, when people want to show off among their mates that they are doing well. So it's about ego and women for me. Yeah, I don't want to.
All right, so you see, when you were talking about the whole pressure thing, it just took my mind a little bit to the fact that, okay, everything we're doing here has a lot to do with as a believer now.
Yes.
Do you think we should, as Christians, as lover of God and all of that, we should focus so much energy on wanting to be prosperous, because even Jesus was speaking to the disciples, and he was making a start, and he said, he was trying to say how hard it is for a rich man, a wealthy man, to make heaven. And so it kind of brought me to that point where I'm thinking, okay, should we focus? Is it right to still have our minds towards wanting to get this prosperity thing, like wanting to strive and be prosperous, or just know that, okay, I'm trying to strive just so that I can settle, and like you said, just settle my needs and maybe people around me and make other people know that I'm trying to gather so much wealth and mass it without even knowing what to use it for? Do you think as believers we should have our minds towards just making something that would be good to take care of yourself and people, just to help out, or we can still go extra mile and all of that?
I like this particular question, and my brother Dusky will be smiling because is this in few words? Because this is something that actually affects me every day.
I think it's few words.
In few words.
We need to-
Okay, so we have not touched the.
No,
Okay.
yeah,
So first of all, right, the Bible speaking in Zechariah, God Himself said, "Through prosperity shall my cities be spread abroad." So it's very important for every believer to be rich. In fact, super rich. If I am not super rich in this world, I'll ask God. I'm not fulfilling scriptures. So I feel God, we are here in this world as stewards. When there's a problem with wealth is when somebody doesn't judiciously dispense it. God gives us money because He trusts us to use it rightly. We cannot do the gospel without money.
Yeah.
You can't do crusade. I'm dropping a couple of songs, maybe this week, next week, up until first quarter of the year. I'm dropping a whole number of songs. I was just talking to one of the hosts, and I told him I'll be doing content. As I'm saying, my heart is beating. So, sir, how can we do this gospel if you don't have money?
Yeah.
If you do the gospel less excellent than what the secular world does, you can't project Jesus. So as a believer, it is super expedient that you have something doing, you are prospering at it, and you have money. Okay. Okay, I'm not going to say so much, but do you know that the pattern son, who is Jesus, was very rich? If you go into the account of Jesus, you find out that the colt, the donkey he rode into Jerusalem, was never ridden by any man. When he wanted to do the Passover with his disciples, he said, "We are going to upper room." That's the penthouse of today. Thirdly, when he was at the cross, the soldiers were dividing his clothes. They were sharing it, doing betting, lots, casting lots, who was going to take a piece of it. These things are telling you. And okay, there's a popular misconception that when Jesus was born, 3 wise men came to visit him. The Bible didn't mention number. He said wise men from the east. Now, they brought 3 classes of goods: gold, frankincense, and myrrh. If these wise men from the east were 20, and they brought an ounce of gold, do you know the kind of capacity of money that Jesus grew in wealth? He wasn't poor. That's why the Bible said through his wealth, he became poor that we might become rich. So Jesus was not poor. And if he's the pattern son, we follow after Christ. We are disciples. We learn after what he does. We're not supposed to be poor. Yes. Jesus had money that he used to give to the poor. The Bible said, as his religion was, he used to give to the poor. His money was always with Judas. Jesus did not save. He didn't save. He wasn't saving scriptures with Judas. It was money. Jesus was a treasurer. If you don't have a treasurer, you don't have a bank account. It means for Jesus to have a treasurer, it means he was wealthy. He had financiers. He had Joanne. He had Joanna. He had Joanna, the wife of Chusa. He had Mary Magdalene. He had financiers. So he had money. So it's very important that a Christian has money in his ministry. Sorry,
Very important that a Christian has money. That's the point.
Yeah.
But then again, the balance to it is we should tame our greed. Because one of the things our leaders, spiritual leaders, fathers, pastors put out there is, go out there, you're blessed this week, get this, make money, bro, this week is yours. All of those prayers and messages are very good. But then again, you have to do things the right way. You have to learn to believe to do things the right way. You have to trust in your skill. You cannot be offering a service of 1,000 naira and be expecting 10,000 naira. That's where the greed comes in. That's when you start changing numbers in papers. So I also, as much as it's important to make money, so you can propagate gospel, so you can move the business of God far, you also have to be content with what you're giving out and what you're getting.
Sure.
There's a balance to everything, because when young people, from the beginning of this conversation, I mentioned the Yahoo and and all that.
Yes.
In quote, it for me is born out of greed. You get what I'm saying? People want to make more than they're actually giving out. That's why the world is becoming what it is now. So the balance to it is whatever you are doing, be content to an extent with what you're getting. Sure. So that's the balance.
So I actually pinpoint, I don't know, sorry. When you started talking about the fathers, I really got interested because I wanted to ask a question, and it was as if our spirit was connecting. So I wanted to ask the question to our guest. So do you think the church has done a good, like they have been able to strike a balance in helping believers understand those things that they need to do, aside, like you said, go out and be prosperous, you receive the whole sermon, the blessings and the prayers. Do you think the church has in a way helped the members, or let's say the youth and every other person, to understand that, okay, aside just declaring the word and accepting, this is what you should do, this is how hardworking you should get to be able to at least strive and become a better version, being prosperous and all of that?
Sorry, I take that first.
Go ahead.
I think I wouldn't say they haven't been doing that. I think they've been doing that, but not enough. Because you will hear more of the prophecies and the blessings, and it's good. But then I know of some pastors that will organize seminars, leadership classes, and bring experts to teach people how to really, really become leaders and really, really become money machines. When you give out value, you get value in return. It is not gimmicks. It is not fake preachings or whatever. You have to know how to give out value. Very few pastors are actually telling their members that truth. It's the truth. It's a fact of life. Whether you're a Christian or you're not a Christian, if you give out proper value, you will get value in return. Okay. So I think some pastors are doing it. I know for one, when I was in Lagos, I attended a particular church that are doing it. Organizing seminars and all that. But I think more pastors need to do it more.
Okay. All right. So you see, there's been this criticism as regards some certain. Okay. So maybe after this, I would then allow you to wrap it up. So there's this criticism that comes with some churches that, like you said, are actually doing this thing, like helping their members to see that, okay, this is what to do and all of that. But people have it this way, that why focus more on the prosperity kind of gospel other than focusing on the coming of Jesus Christ? Like, you need to be prepared and all of that. Like, you need to know that Jesus is coming soon. It shouldn't be about wanting to make money. At the end, vanity upon vanity, like they say,
No, it's not like they say.
Well, actually, that's what it is.
So. I like this question. So
it's not like they say.
I'm agitated. I want you to ask.
This is the point where we're going to disagree.
Yes. I want you to.
So now the thing is, what do you think? Are they doing anything wrong in trying to help their members? Because it's evident some of these churches that actually preach about prosperity, you see it in their members. It's obvious, So do you think they are actually doing the right thing, or there should be a little balance between the teaching, or just what's your take on it?
I want to speak in tongues, but let me control myself. Okay, so first of all, if you really do the gospel, if you are in the gospel and you do the business of the gospel, I make bold to say that prosperity is as important as salvation. I have no apology to this statement. Even if you call me in 50 years' time, I will repeat the same thing. The reason I say that is because I have quoted the scripture earlier. I said, through prosperity shall my cities be spread abroad. The prosperity precedes the gospel. Before the gospel was introduced to the earth, people were controlled by money. Do you know why Jesus told Peter, go to the river and get a fish, take out money? So that, because in the cities of the world, men respect money. That's why there was a comparison between God. Jesus was speaking to his disciples. He said, you can't serve God and mammon. Now, this is my point. You want to do a crusade. You want to put out a body of work, gospel-wise. If you do not put money, because the people of the world do not care about how genuine your salvation is. Somebody said, and I quote, salvation is free, but the gospel is not cheap. So you cannot downplay the place of prosperity in the gospel. If you try it, you will not go global. Crusades are not done all over the world and evangelism with prayer. You can pray all you like, pray for territories. God will deliver the territories. He will send revival in a certain way. But I tell you, the people who are in the unbelievers and the people who need Christ, the gospel has to be taken to them. The gospel was brought to us by the white men or some black men who went wherever. I don't want to go into that gospel history, of course. But the gospel was brought to us, and it took finances to do that. And then, secondly, concerning the last question you were asking there, I wanted to say something to you, probably. Okay, so if your church preaches prosperity more than it preaches salvation, why don't we want to be like the Berean church? That whenever they are taught something, they go back to the scripture and search it. They search. So when you search, you now find out that even Apostle Paul, who is the greatest apostle who wrote 2/3 of the Bible, he worked. He was a tent maker. So how come you now want to sit down and they say you are blessed and you now become blessed? Of course you are blessed in Christ, but your pocket will be empty. So I am averse to Christians who are very shallow. Nobody will pay for you will pay for your ignorance yourself. So if you do not study and know the principles of wealth creation, and you say because your pastor say you are blessed, you won't work or you won't strive so hard, and because you are paying your tithe out of the money that they dash you, you expect to be blessed. God is not going to bless an empty hand. He blesses the works of your hand. So for me, I feel like even if a pastor is teaching wrongly, he's teaching more prosperity than he should teach, everybody has a responsibility. I'm going to end it with this example. Some time ago, I had an ailment and I was suffering from a particular sickness and all that. And then I was listening to a man of God from South Africa. He said, the faith that you need to heal cancer, the faith that you need to fight cancer, you will not build it when you already have cancer. It's a faith that you have been building from all your life. So when cancer comes, your faith reacts. So you can't say that in that 2 weeks that the doctor has given me time to die before. That's a story for another day. It's not in that 2 weeks that I now started. When the doctor told me that, they told me that my so and so organ, I just started singing a song. I wrote a very powerful song from that hospital because there was a place my faith was grounded on. Yeah. So if the church, your pastor teaches you, you have the Bible. This is not the era of there's one era that this guy wrote. There's this man that wrote the God's Generals. There's a particular one of the third versions. I think it's the era of one thing. So revivalist, I think. No, not revivalist. One of the books. Those times the gospel of God was scarce. So people did not have access to the Bible. You have access to the Bible. Go to Google, just search scriptures on hard work and prosperity. You will see what it will bring. Thousands of scriptures. So go and read it. Why are you waiting? People just go to church 2 hours every week and they expect to know God. You can't. God is an infinite being. So I think that we have more lazy Christians. That's why the gospel is suffering from what it's suffering from.
But that's the problem.
Go ahead, sir.
That is the problem.